I remember as I was in the junior high school, I had a keen interest in reading books, and we had a little library in our campus of the junior high of the elementary school that I grew up in, and I used to go there and read stories about different countries, like in Peru, in Chile, in Argentina, in Brazil, in somewhere in Asia, and uh, and I always remember when I had the opportunity to visit those countries, and I remember the day I was in Chile one time, and we were we were at a place where they had a luau in one of the restaurants there on the coast of Chile, and I remember thinking, man, I remember reading about Chile when I was in my little junior high school, junior elementary school library, and that's the library in my village. In my village where I grew up, there were no cars, so the main road was in the middle of the village. There's a side that is by the ocean, and the other side towards the mountain. I was living on the side towards the mountain, and I used to come in the evening where in the middle of the road was in the middle of the village. There was this pathway that we go from one end of the village to the other, and it's a walkway. And I remember sitting there. Sometimes I'm with friends talking about all kinds of little things and big things that as little kids in the village would talk about. We talk about so and so, we talk about somebody having a good time fishing. And I remember at other times I would sit there on the side of the road and I look out towards the ocean and wonder what would it be like to be on the other end, on the other side of the horizon. Always fascinating. And that's when I started reading books in the library. It really was not even a library. It was just a little room with books, and I would go there and as a little kid just interested in all of that. And then I also had a chance to be introduced to reading Shakespeare. So I made sure I read all the Shakespeare stories and took it at home sometime and have a time sneaking behind everybody with my grandmother and sneaking behind reading the books. But later on in life, by the way, while I was on the sidewalk, it is one of those things that you do almost every night, because every night there's no electricity. So every night it gets dark very fast, and then the only light are the lanterns that each home, each family has to do their devotion and for their evening time together. But I would sit there and I watch out in the ocean. I see lights in the middle of on the ocean with boats going into the main island. And then during the daytime, sometime I would look up when there's a noise of an airplane flying by and see the airplane on the top, and just wondering, just very active in using my imagination and the sense of curiosity as to what it would be like to be in the airplane or be in the boat going to another island, going to another place. But I remember during those days, because it came to me as in the last 4 years, I've been confined to a wheelchair, that it's possible to be limited in your physical activities, but your mind can go from one island to another, one country to another. And so I have had the opportunity since I started my YouTube channel, of sitting in front of my computer and think about places like I remember the time in Chile with having a good time with my friends, and then I asked people, because Chile is closer to the Easter Island, and so a lot of the Chilenos, that I don't know if it's Chilenos or Chileans, I asked them if they have been to the Easter Island. They said yes. So my ancestors happened to be from Tahiti, and on my father's side, I'm a quarter Tahitian and 3/4 Samoan, and but I remember that because it was interesting to me. Everything has a meaning. Remember going to the waterfall in at Iguazu in Argentina, and huge body of water. That was fascinating. That's a story of its own. But I've had the chance to go to these different places, and I ended up sometime I spent 2 months in Argentina, down in Mar del Plata, right way down south. And when the war on the Falkland Islands with Britain came from with Argentina, I remember I was there. And in those days, it was cheaper to buy a huge steak in a restaurant than ordering the silverware and napkins. But it just shows you how cheap meat and steak was in those days. And Argentina was one of my favorite places. And we went on a train from Buenos Aires to Mar del Plata, down south. And then when we came back, I had a couple of days of exploring Buenos Aires, beautiful parks and all those places. And but these are the places I read about when I was a little kid in my village. And every time I go to a new country, I would think back on that little room in the library of my elementary school, where I went and read about this place just as a little kid, wondering what it would be like to go there. And now I am there, and life is so much better. And that's the reason why I think it's important that we keep a perspective of being grateful in life, because now that I am confined to a wheelchair for the last 4 months, last 4 years, sometimes with a little break in between, but always on a wheelchair, I forgot what it was like to get up sometime and go to the kitchen and fix my own food. So my dear wife has been very gracious in fixing my food, my breakfast, my lunch, and even evening meals. So don't take life for granted. And so, but what it speaks to me is when you're grateful and view life as every day is an opportunity to grow, every day is an opportunity to learn more, every day is an opportunity to use our minds to imagine things. And since I started YouTube, it has been a great joy for me, because I'm able to remember stories from my 20s, my early 10s, when I was in the island and going all over the place. Now I can think back and remember moments and times of freedom that I had, and the opportunity just to get up and go. And there was no limitation, there's no danger, there's nothing like that. You just get up and go, and there are no wild animals. You just wild pigs, and so I'm reminded of that, and I'm reminded of the benefit of when I started doing YouTube. It gave me a chance to relive some of these moments with great memory and great gratitude on what life has brought for me. So since I started this YouTube channel, it has been an incredible blessing to just recall and recount the places, the opportunities, the challenges that has come from that, and the adventure of going from one place to another, and then remembering where I started having the idea about these countries. It all boils back to that little room in my elementary school that I used to go and read and figure out, man, where are these places? But now I'm kind of well versed around that area. And then you go through life, all the adventures and the challenges, and ended up here in St. George, Utah, with my health conditions that has limited me to in a place to go, or limited me in a place to just get up and go, pick up a cup of coffee from Starbucks or from a coffee shop. My favorite coffee shop here in St. George is a place in Hurricane called the Rock Coffee House, the River Rock Coffee House. And oh my God, you sit out and you watch the breath of the valley below and the river flowing underneath. Just the ability to get up and go when I had my legs, but now I don't. By the way, in 3 weeks, I'm going to have my new prosthetic leg that will make me start to walk again. And I'm so looking forward to that opportunity to walk again and enjoy the mobility, the being mobile. And but everything has a challenge. Everything is a next step up, a next step to that. But don't let your mind settle into the gutter, because the gutter is a place where you go and you may not come back if you make it a point of going there and feel sorry for yourself. Just life is so beautiful. Life has so much more to offer. And even if you are confined to a wheelchair, do the little exercise here and there. I have my little, my wife's massage table in my office that I just step out of my wheelchair and get into it and do my stretches and all of that, just to get ready for the moment when I have my 2 legs again. The other thing that I want to mention, because by having 2 mechanical legs, I can now grow 2 inches because on the bottom of it, it can be adjusted to shorter or longer. So I'm 6'3" at the moment. So when I have my 2 legs together, I'm gonna ask the guy, my friend Peter, who helped me with my prosthetic leg, if I can have 2 extra inches longer on the bottom so that I can stand up, and I'm 6'5". My son in Hawaii, I talked to him a couple of days ago and I said to him, son, here's one of the funny thing about having 2 prosthetic legs. I don't have to worry about being tall. He's 6'5". And I said, I'm gonna measure myself to be 6'5", so that when you come and visit me, I'll stand up and I will see eye to eye to you, because when I stand up next to him, I have to look up to him. But that's how life treats us. Make the most of your moment. Don't allow the handicaps, don't allow the limitation of your ability to define you. You can sit back and allow the benefit of your mind traveling, going from one place to another. Enjoy the view, enjoy the memory of the scent and the flowers, the beautiful flowers. You can imagine that, and as you imagine it, it becomes real, and life takes on a whole new meaning. My name is Sosene Leao. If you find any value here, and if you have a sense that you want to follow me, because this is a journey, this is an adventure of a lifetime. If you want to follow me, press subscribe button below this video, and please let me know where you are watching me from. What state, what country are you watching me from? And I would appreciate that very much. And leave a comment. Love to hear your comment. And in the meantime, God bless you. And this is Sosene Leao. Say bye-bye for now.